And you're on the dock right here with Pastor Troy and the gang. I tried to say cool and the gang, and our lawyers told me we couldn't do it. So Pastor Troy and the gang on the dock.org. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday, dropping incredible episodes out of the clouds and into your lap. It's an amazing feat that we can do here. And Jesus isn't even involved in that part of it. Jesus is involved all the rest of our lives. But I don't know what the cloud is. But every Tuesday and Thursday, you can get one. Just find On the Dock with Pastor Troy, and we'd be glad to help you. We're all about our theme. Our credo is conversations that'll get you up out of the seats after the show and get you out into the deep doing the things of God. I love that picture. Get off those chairs after we're done. We're going to give you something to work with, get you out of that bay, into the past, into the deep. Keep your eye on the lighthouse, and Jesus will guide you home. We're excited about being here. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Those are our featured sites. You can watch us on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. You can hear us, and we'll try to describe stuff best we can. But get linked up with whichever ones work for you, specifically all three of these, or at least two of these, depending on your Droid or iPhone. And when you get there, hit subscribe, like, notify, tell other people about it. When you subscribe and notify, it'll tell you every time a new one hits, so you don't have to just go look all the time. It'll say you got another one. You go, wow, On the Dock's here. So go to Google Play, also Facebook, Roku, Rumble, Sermon. If you just don't like those three, I don't really like YouTube, but they're our best thing. But Rumble's a good alternative. On Sundays, we get cut off YouTube all the time. Facebook, they hate us, but they never cut On the Dock off. So give them some support, and the higher our numbers get, that better our algorithm is. So go do that. And again, subscribe, hit like, notify, tell other people about it. And we could use your help. Go to your Droid or your iPhone app, download the thing called My Patreon or Patreon app, and look up On the Dock with Pastor Troy. We have 4 levels of partnership. You can partner with our show and what we're doing and help be a partner of the team member financially. There's also 3 levels of sponsorship. If you're a church, an organization, you've got a missions group, you got a Christian business or whatever you do, we'd love to do a spotlight on you. There's 3 levels of sponsorship, and they come with different things that we do back and work with you on. And we do spotlights on organizations all the time. But if you want to do that, check out that, and we'd love to be a spotlighter for you, and you be a sponsor with us and help us get the good news out. For the first time ever in our 3 seasons, this is season 3, we have our first affiliate partner. There's a whole affiliate partner page on the website, SLNT, silent, slnt.com, promo code OTD. If you can remember nothing else, OTD On the Dock. Go check that out. They do Faraday bag type things, reclaim your right to disconnect. And we'll have to explain to our guest today a little bit about this down the road and how we got there. It's an amazing story. You've been hearing about it all through this season, but you can also go to www.slnt.com/discount/OTD. And everything you buy there, you get an extraordinarily better discount, and you get better deals on shipping and special offers as well. And we get some resources, which is great. Today we have Colt on microphone, but we've been having the hashtag Bring Donna Back. So go to Patreon, be a partner or sponsor, go to our slnt.com and help us buy that 5th and 6th mic and add some cameras here and be a part of the show. Help us expand this thing. God's doing a lot of good things here. And we have this new affiliate partner program. You can go to onthedock.org. That's our website. Every platform is linked there. You can find everything you didn't remember. Go there. You can get to Patreon there. You can get to our affiliate page and see SLNT, all that. And if you're totally confused after that, email Donna, our executive producer, at info@onthedock.org. She's real patient, and she'll explain it a lot slower than I just did. Yes. Yes, she will do it. I got Mother Beth on the set with me, with my incredible, lovely co-host, up and going. It's a Monday. Just another Matic Monday. No?
No.
Wish it were Sunday, or is it a fun day? I don't want it to be Sunday. I just did Sunday. I'm a pastor. Got Mother Beth with me on the set here, my incredible co-host, ready to go, Colt Krasowski. In the booth there, he's our tech ninja today. And on camera and mic, but we still hashtag Bring Down the Back. Every time we have 4 guests, we have to lose their mic over there. We just get a picture of them. We want to get them on here permanently. And so reach out to Donna. Donna is our executive producer. She's not in the room today, but she'll reach out to you through email if you got any questions on the show. And we are in here ready to go with our super series for this year. We're doing Building a Stronger Church series. We're doing teaching on it, such as the training camp, which you've been watching probably. And we got another series called The Rise of the Church, where we'll be talking about the Mother Church. And then we have another edition of The Rise of the Church later in the year, where we'll be teaching you on the rules of hard knocks, what Christians will be facing, and how to be prepared to take those attacks and blows, and how you can be strong for the kingdom and be the resistant church in this time. But we're also, with this super duper series, we're bringing in church pastors that we believe are remnant leaders. These are pastors like us and like you out there that really care about the kingdom. They're leading other bodies of faith that are doing incredible, extraordinary work. And we're bringing them in because we don't want you to just hear my teaching. I want you to hear some of their ethos, some of their keys. And maybe I don't communicate something well. They'll communicate something better. They got a better idea. And if you're closer to the region, you're questioning, I'm not going to church at all, and you just need to get engaged. Get there. You're in a church and they're waffling on the core things of faith. Get there. We're not in competition with other churches of the remnant. We are all together the remnant, and we're bringing those kind of folks in. They're great leaders. West Monroe Apostolic Church is our focus today from Herrin, Illinois, and got the senior pastor Jordan Griffith in the room. Jordan, how are you doing today? Welcome to On the Dock.
Yes, thank you for having me. Doing wonderful.
Man, so good. We're going to do episode 1 with you. We're going to probably do a couple today with you. The first one, we're going to get a little bit of introduction, and we're going to call this part 1, Introduction and Leading the Remnant, what it's like to lead a remnant congregation. Jordan is let me get his picture up there. Man, his hair is always perfect because he's got barber skills. He's a mad barber. Where do you barber at?
Razor's Edge Barbershop in Marion.
There you go. So there's your Christian barber. There's no reason, if you're using a barber that's not a believer in Jesus Christ, I can give you a dozen on my hand. Yeah. We have a lot of godly barbers in this region. We do. Get there and find him and get on the thing. Can people schedule with you? Do you do a calendar or you just do walk-ins?
I do actually just schedule only. Appointments only is pretty much how you do it. So.
That is a big change, and I love it.
Yeah.
I ragged my barber for years, and he's a man of God too. And I kept saying, you need to schedule, because I would do every other Tuesday at this time, every time. And I get the flat top, I get my hair cut. And Jordan's cut my hair one time. He did a great job. My barber was out of whack at the time. And so I went in, Jordan kind of filled in and pitched it. And you cut a bunch of other people I know. I mean, you cut a lot of hair. And he's right next to my son's shop. If you know where Crown Brew is, we've done features on Crown Brew. It's right next door there. So you can get your Crown Brew, go get your haircut, come back and get another Crown Brew, and go home buzzed. And double buzz. You get buzzed and real buzz.
I think going to the barber shop or the beauty shop used to be like a social event.
It is. No,
so
his barber shop is.
No, but I mean, people didn't mind just going and sitting and waiting their turn, and and then women are just there with their perm and their hair dryer and whatever. But these days, people are too busy.
Yeah.
They want to get an appointment
and get in and
get out.
You wait a minute or 2, 3, but you want to get in. I like it better because I told him, I said, I want to come every week, every other weekend. And so now that's all those guys do over Church Street. They just do schedule. They take a few walk-ins, but if you walk in, you're just like, well, maybe. They might have a seat, but you're kind of at the will. The walk-in's no longer in front of you. The walk-in's kind of gap filler. Yeah, and I really kind of like that. It's a whole change in that world there. But Jordan is the senior pastor of West Monroe Apostolic Church. So check out that incredible graphic there on the thing. Their church meets out at, I get the address. Do I have that? I don't have the address up here. I should have put the address. I do have the address right here, someplace here.
I can get it to you if you did.
Yeah, do that. No, it's out on West Monroe and 30th.
Yeah,
the corner of West Monroe and 30th Street in here, and it's been there a long time. Yeah. That's why it's West Monroe. West Monroe Apostolic Church. Look,
105 years.
105 years. That's amazing. I saw your 100th anniversary thing a few years ago. That was so fantastic. When you're going through here and go over the railroad tracks, okay, all the streets are named after presidents. Monroe is like really quick. All right, you're going to take a left. You just keep going down that and keep going down that, and you're going to see it on the right. It's the biggest thing down that street by far. Yeah. And you can check it out at wmac1.org. They have all the links there. Email them. If you got any questions, you want to talk to Jordan, email him as well as at wmac1.org. They got a great Facebook page, lots of stuff going on. Sunday school at 9:30 still, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Sunday worship at 10:30, Wednesday at 7. We always get this stuff out. If people quit listening, at least they got to figure out where your church is. And that lovely woman, Destiny, is that you get her to marry you?
I did. Somehow.
Man, you did good. You still have 2 kids?
2 kids.
2 kids. I stole this off his pastor appreciation stuff here, and got incredible wife, kids. Wife's got a great background, also in ministry. We'll find out more about that in a minute. But let me just say that just an amazing background. Jordan became senior. When did you become senior pastor?
Well, so we're recording this on a Monday. yesterday was our 1 year anniversary of being voted in as pastors.
Wow.
In our church.
By the time you hear this, it may be one and a quarter. This episode will go out Sunday, but it's over 1 year now.
Mm-hmm.
When you're hearing it, it could be deeper than that. 1 year. Wow. I remember being there that day for your consecration came a little bit later than that. Yeah. What a great service. I mean, we just loved it. We just loved it.
I always love going to your church. It's
We
just
do.
so much fun.
We just get
the
along
worship is so good.
so good.
And everybody gets involved. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Mayor Fertini was sitting next to me, and we're good friends. Mayor and I are good friends. Mayor's a great man. He always shows up and supports everything going on in the community, and I love our mayor for that reason. Mayor looks over me. We have set a lot of things together, and he looks over me. He says, and a lot of times I just let the mayor run when he's out here for fun day. He's in charge of all the politician, does all the stuff, and so he looks at me and goes, he says, we're worshiping. He sees us jamming and stuff. He says, I think I'm in front of you. I'm going to leave you a little extra more time in me because I think you're going to do better in this target-rich environment than I will. I said, Mayor, I can handle it. So that's why when I helped him out the stage, he'd already said, I'm going to give you a little extra. So he inspired me to kick it up a notch. So the mayor was trying to groove with us, he's trying that, but
it was a great day. It was an honor that you guys were there as well as the mayor. All the guests that came.
We were honored to be there and to speak a bless on you. I came kind of on behalf of all the ministers in town just to welcome Jordan to the senior pastor to our area. It's a small group of leaders that lead the spiritual life of the Heron community. And I want to say this. I'm going to put your dad up here. I don't know what you do with Terry and Mona. They're incredible. I guess Pastor Emeritus is, forever. They're just kind of there. They're always going to, their heartbeat's always there. Mm-hmm. And what's been great about y'all's transition is nothing but exciting. Your dad, from the first day, he called me to tell me that he told me a while ahead of that you would be the guy. He really wanted that, and he saw that, and he said, "Well, you do whatever you can to mentor and encourage him, Jordan along." And I said, "Absolutely." He called me just to ask me that.
Wow.
Just asked me that.
He's wonderful.
He did, and I absolutely. Your mom is well. Your dad's great, but your mom's probably better. But she can sing. The girl can. Your mama can sing still, man. Yeah. She can bring it. You think she's slowed down a little bit, but she can lead that thing. That she was kicking it. Gosh, and just the service was fantastic. But your dad's incredible, and your mom's incredible, and so Terry and Mona Griffith, we honor them. We honor your parents. When I was beginning in ministry, he took care of me. Mm-hmm. So wouldn't you agree? Yeah. He was my north there, and a guy that I could look to and know that we're talking about today about the remnant. He was a pastor then I knew that wouldn't compromise. And when I was going off to seminary, I knew him before I went to Methodist seminary. Now think about that, Methodist seminary. Methodist should be holiness, and it is, but the seminaries aren't. They are de-holiness. So you get the Methodist seminaries, they're just woke beds of liberalism. And I was, because of guys like him and my mentor, Fred Bishop, and I had Shane in my life, and Steve McEwen, and I were both youth pastors in those days. And I had people that I was going with No Greater Love on the streets doing ministry, and we were doing Expo Fest in those days. I had enough people around me that could keep my north so that when I came through the seminary, I got their credentials, but I still had Jesus as my guide. Mm-hmm. And your dad is a part of that. And when I came back out and went other places, and then when I finally moved back here, 20 years later, your dad was one of the people that just arms wide open. When I got ready to start the Heron House of Hope, he just said, just call me and tell me what you need. And so I want to tell you, your dad's been that to me. And just on the record, there will never be a time that my wife and I won't be there for you.
Well, I appreciate
up front. That's the way the Levites should work. The Aaronic family should work. So It's exciting to have you here. I'm so excited about your leadership. Give us a little, let's get your picture back up here. Get us a little introduction to your family. Tell us about your family and about your kids and background a little bit on you and your wife. Because your wife's got some ministry background. Your dad's got heritage in the church there. But your wife's got some heritage too, doesn't she, in the church?
Does,
Let's hear that.
Yeah, my wife, as you see, beautiful wife. We were married in 2015, wow. And very thankful. We've known each other our whole life, and she had went off to a Bible school seminary herself after high school, and when she came back, that was kind of the time that we maybe changed our relationship, kind of got a little closer, and led to eventually dating and getting engaged and getting married.
Does she have? She's got family that has been in ministry at that church in the church's history as pastors.
Yeah. Her great grandfather at one time was pastor at our church.
Before your dad.
Before my dad. Before my dad, my grandpa, my mother's father pastored. So this is
who was the first pastor? Who was the go back? Was that connected to one of your families? Even the first pastor?
It was not.
Or did it come in later?
No, back in 105 years ago when the church started. It was the first. I would say 40 years, there was quite a few different pastors because their custom at that time, at least for our church, they would pastor 3-4 years, maybe
move on to a bigger church,
or they would go and build another church. You know, they'd be
the church planner, and that's what we did in our
church planners. Yeah, and so there were a lot of different pastors that came through.
And as you settle in, you begin to start identifying that long-term lead.
Exactly. So so her and when her grandpa was there, it was quite a ways back, and
I remember it was quite far back.
Yes, and so it was, like I said, it was at that time. It's kind of was when the norm was to be there for a shorter period of time,
right?
And then some leaders rose up that were there for longer periods, and that kind of has been.
And then
the
your
case
grandpa
recently.
Was there when?
He was there from 1975 to 94,
and he passed it to your dad.
Yes. So after when he left, my dad was pastor from 95 up until this past year.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. That is just absolutely incredible. And so here's the deal. Do you get home with your wife being trained, you know? Do you get out of the pulpit some days and she goes, "Man, you blew that. That was terrible."
She's nice.
Is she nice to you?
Yes,
Or
she is.
Do you see her tapping her foot occasionally, going, "Boys, on the wrong track," you know, hunting the wrong rabbit, you know?
Hey, she regularly does let me know that I don't have to go quite as long as I
hear that.
want to.
I hear that too.
But she's wonderful.
She says we can tighten it up here a little bit. You lose a few of those examples. What happens? I can get 3 examples deep and forgot what the point of why I was going 3 examples deep, and then my wife will holler out, "Get back to this point," and I'll be right back on the rabbit again. You know. So I'm fortunate. My wife got her degree with me. I write well, but I write in run-on sentences with lots of comma splices. I can write, but I can't like grammar stuff well. So all of my masters, all of my doctorate, I would send papers to Beth and she would read them. And so everything I've written, everything I've read, everything I've summarized, she has been my editor to it. So she has a co-degree with me. And then I would send it, like when I did my doctorate, I had to went to Texas and go for 2 weeks at a time, different times of the year. And so I would write a paper to I'd be at the dorm room writing the paper till about midnight, and then I'd text her and say, "I just emailed it to you." And so when I'd wake up at 6:30 and 7 in the morning, she would have it fixed. And if she couldn't fix something because it was so ununderstandable, she'd say, "Well, you're gonna have to clean this up." And then I'd fix that real quick, print it out, and go to class. And so my wife and I got co-degrees. Okay. Yeah, we're co-pastors. She should be like the second doctor. So she taps her foot a lot too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey, my wife, I can't say enough good things about her. She in all of my weaknesses, that's her strengths, and so we thankfully complement each other.
And you got 2 kids?
I have two kids. One 5, Tatum. He's the oldest there, and Oliver is our youngest. He's about 1.5 years now.
That is fantastic.
Wonderful.
When did you start into ministry? I know you're born in the Levite household. Just because you're born in doesn't mean the preacher's kids can do all kinds of things. But when did you kind of make the transition that I think I want to get into at least pastorate, or when did you even think about being a lead pastor?
For me, I may have maybe a little unconventional for a lot of people. I am definitely a testimony of just getting involved in anything I could, and as pastors' kids, that naturally happens.
But sometimes they get involved in everything that's bad. And then the dad's
true.
like, "Oh, God, again, they were around town." Because, sometimes it's the other way.
Yeah.
They get involved in everything bad, and then it's a challenge. You got involved in the positive.
I like to think so, as much as possible.
Breaking news right now. Stand by. Jordan Griffith's going to tell the truth here about.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Go ahead.
I've always had a heart for the church, heart for the people, and to see the church succeed. And so that involved a lot of things. That involved making sure that classes were ready to go, or especially I think when I was going through junior high, getting into high school, kind of that heart for our youth ministry, making sure that things were ready to go for our youth class. And that was just something that had always been there. Now, a lot of people that have known me when I was younger and maybe haven't, maybe they've moved away or something, haven't seen me grow up. They always come and say, I'm so surprised because that you're pastoring. And the reason is naturally I've always been more of a shy person, more of an introvert. And so that is not always the case for pastors. And so, in fact, it is one of those things that even to this day, I have to naturally step out of my comfort zone And when that started happening, that was kind of a God thing to say, hey, there's a purpose for your life that's going to require you to step out of your comfort zone. And I think that started happening in high school. And when I taught my first lesson was in a youth class. Never forget this. I taught on the light, that Jesus is the light. And there was a girl there that was in school, and it was her first time ever actually at our church. And I don't know if she went to church anywhere else at the time, but when I finished, I didn't really know how to close it. So I got done teaching the lesson and just said, hey, does anybody else have anything they want to add, to the just kind of an abrupt ending? And she raised her hand. I said, yeah, what would you like to say? And she said, well, I think what Jordan was trying to say was this. And I knew that, oh, man, that's not a good sign. Say what you were trying to say. So I say that to say that that it's definitely been a journey for me, that it's not one of those things that maybe from teaching, preaching, that aspect of pastoring is something that I've had to definitely grow in. Mm-hmm. And then the other parts of it are the things that I guess I have more of a natural.
Well, you've been around the mechanism doesn't startle you because you've seen it. You've been around the meetings and the family and what goes on, the flow and the seasons. Having to prepare a message week in and week out, sometimes twice a week. Yeah. Do you guys do groups? What are you doing on Wednesday night? You're doing a message on Wednesday night, teaching.
Yes, and we have different classes throughout our building, different age groups. We kind of break it up. And so we teach. That's more of our Bible study night is on Wednesdays.
Us too.
And I teach as well as we have a great group of teachers in our church.
Are you doing those in classes, or do you have some stuff going in the main auditorium? Do you have stuff through the church?
We change it up primarily. Most of our adult ages are going to be together in our sanctuary.
I can see that.
And then we do a couple times a year, break that up, split it up between men and women, or split it up between maybe two different subjects that we have going on in the church.
And let people decide.
But primarily we're together. And I'll say one thing, kind of going back to, you mentioned my parents.
Yeah.
My parents modeled what it meant to be a pastor and a pastor's wife.
Absolutely.
And
for us too.
And so there are so many lessons that I learned, not necessarily because they sat me down at the dinner table and said, this is what you need to do to be a pastor. This is X, Y, and Z. But just with their life and how they
lived it.
They lived it. Does your wife do teaching in small groups and different stuff? Does she lead any classes or anything like that?
She's an amazing teacher. I bet. I tell you what, she's taught way before I was teaching. She was teaching.
What your mom teaches. Your mom is a leader like that. Your mom leads worship. Your mom leads in classes and I know in Bible studies. Her and I have even had dialogue over stuff where she was going to lead and she wrote me and say, you got an idea on this? So your mom and I've had text exchange over messages and stuff. And so I love the fact that you've been mentored by a good teaching team. And then now you got your teaching team. I love that. The household thing. I love the fact that you're now 3 generations. It defies a lot of the odds because Jesus struggled in his own hometown. A lot of us struggle in a hometown. The one thing I was told when I was in Methodism, when you get into your candidacy phase, you have to go interview 3 retired pastors, and you have to ask them some questions like, do you have any advice of what you would do or wouldn't do in your career? That kind of thing. You kind of write up about it. So I went and visited a couple pastors, and one of the themes that came across with 2 of them, of the 3, was one was Roy Cole. I'm trying to remember who the other one was. Can't hit it right now. But and they said, well, Roy Cole's real clear. He says, I'm going to tell you right now, there's 3 things I'll give you. It's easy. Don't go to your home church as an appointment. Don't go to your wife's home church as an appointment, and never go back to a church you once served that you left. He said, because your home church, they remember the little boy and whatever you did, and your wife's church, they remember her for what she did. And then if you go back to a church later on, even if that church got bigger and you've elevated in your career and you're coming back around, they only remember you for who you were, and they won't recognize the change. They'll think you've changed. You have changed. You're a better, stronger leader or whatever. And so he said, those are my 3 recommendations. So in general, what he was saying is it's tough to go to your home church. You stepped right in behind your dad, who stepped right in. You guys have a different culture there.
Yeah.
So that you've broken that. Because I'm watching some of your services now and stuff, because they're online. You can get online and check them out. They're rocking it. I saw no hesitation. I don't think that's been missed. And I don't think it's because your dad's still around at all. I think that's because people know you and they see you through the lens of generations of excellence. So you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Hey, you got to chart your own course, and you're going to have some leadership skills. I already see some great things you're doing and that you'll bring to the table. But how has that been for you, coming in behind 2 sets of parents' shoes, grandparents and your dad's?
Yeah. Well, and my wife also was raised in our church.
Absolutely.
So we got it from both
4
sides.
sets. 4 sets. Right.
So we have it from both sides.
I mean, they kind of say, you can't do this, dude. You can't move this pulpit 12 inches to the left. If you move this pulpit 12 inches to the left, Sister so-and-so is going to explode back there.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any of that?
I'm sure it exists.
I got it. And I wouldn't.
Sure
I went to one church, found out you couldn't do this or this. And then, so,
I'll tell you this once again. I'll brag on my parents. They allow us to do those things that don't really matter. They may be stuff that they like.
They have figured out what matters and what doesn't matter. When I was at my one of my churches, Pawnee, I'm just going to name it church. We had a guy that had been a pain in the butt. Man, they'd gone through, before I got there, they'd gone through 8 pastors in 20 years, or like 9 pastors in 20 years. So when the bishop appointed me there, number 1, I think she's trying to get me killed. Number 2, the key word there, because I've been a bit of pain, but when she pointed me there, she said, you're the one guy that can change that, because you're tougher than shoe leather. You plant churches. Even if they all left you, just restart. You'd be glad, because you could start. You have a great building. And so, and that I'm very focused. So I got in there and figured things out, and I found out who the pastor killer was. And I kind of tried to make peace for a while, tried to bring them on the inside. I was told by everybody, don't do it. I said, I'm not going to do it. But as a new pastor, I got to give everybody their time. I know that you tell me they're a goat, but until they kick me, I'm going to treat them like they're one of my sheep. And then if they bite me, I'm going to start treating them like a wolf in sheep's clothing. And then we'll do what we do to wolves. We slay them, or we cast them away. And so he didn't bite a lot, but he had a rule. I had 2 services. I started a kick-in service in the morning, and then I had the old dead Methodist service, at 11, or we had it early. The dead Methodist service was early one. No, it was late, and it had to be. He told me when he got there, he said, now, preacher, if you can't do it in 1 hour, I'm not going to be here. And so 1 hour, you see him get up and leave every single Sunday, and I don't. Fine, leave. I tried not to be over an hour in that service, because it didn't matter. But the first service I had like 2 hours, so it was nice. We were kicking it, and people were being filled with the Spirit. But this old Methodist church was into this thing called religion. So I had a Pharisee and Sadducee service, and then I had a kick in holiness service. It was like I was like bipolar, man. I had to change suits and clothes between. And so one day, I had got to give me a message, and there was a couple people that were in the service there, and they were really under conviction. You could, when I walked out and was speaking to them, you could see they were going to come to Christ. You could see it on their eyes. There were tears, and I was giving the invitation. I stepped down closer to him to talk to him, and he got up, and like you would normally do, and he walked out the door. And when he walked out the door, it broke the spirit in the room.
Well, because he kind of made he made a little bit of a stir about it.
And I had somebody playing the piano behind me a little bit. And normally he would kind of quietly go out. And I don't care if you quiet. People got to go out of your service all the time. But he made a stir, and it broke. Everybody turned. Yeah. And I lost him. That was the first time he had caused me to not be able to connect with somebody for Jesus Christ. And I stepped back up. He was out the door. And his wife came separately, because his wife was embarrassed by it always. And he was home. And I went back in the pulpit, and I looked at the worship leader. I said, you close the service in prayer. I'm out of here. And I went out the other door, got my car. I pulled in behind him at his house. And I said, Homer, I don't care if you leave. You can leave every week, but if you ever disturb my service one more time, if you ever break the spirit one more time in my service, I'm going to kick your butt out of this church. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? It's one thing for you to leave and be a butthead, but you're not going to cause people not to come to Jesus Christ. And if you do it again, you're not coming back here. I don't care what I have to do. You're out of here. I'm telling you. I mean, and he looked at me and he says, you're the first pastor in 50 years to have enough gumption to stand up to me. He says, I'll never disrupt your service again. Wow. He said, you're the first pastor to have enough guts to take me on. And we had a changing relationship. Now, I'll go 7 more years. I moved the service 15 minutes at a time. We grew enough that I needed to put another service in the middle. I moved the service 15 minutes at a time, which meant they had to go a little later. And that caused him to leave the church. And so he left the church, and that was okay. And everybody was good because it let other people come to the kingdom. And I had almost all 8 pastors that had been burnt through by him. He had destroyed pastors. Called me and said, you got Homer to leave? I said, yeah. He said, I just moved the service 15 minutes. He said, had we known a 15-minute move of service would have got him out of here, we'd have done that 25 years ago. Wow. So when I talk about remnant resistance, there's lines in the sand there. I mean, you're going to run across those. I'm glad you haven't run across Homer yet. Hopefully you won't come this far south. He's stepping Pawnee. What does it mean for you? We're talking about remnant pastors. Hang on a second. I want to do something real quick. He's described as give me a little, before I get into that, let me do this first. Give me a little description of the life of West Monroe Apostolic Church. Tell me a little bit about, what's happening there. What's your vision and mission there? Just give me a little bit, just get a little picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me do that first.
No, our church, I'll say, first of all, I love our church.
I know you do. I can tell. I love your church.
I'm thankful for our church. And it's, we've talked about my parents. We talked about
if Homer comes here, I'm going to your church.
There we go. Hey,
I'm serious. Welcome. No. I'd go to your church in a split second. I'm telling you, I would attend their church just right now.
Well, we have amazing people in our church, and
good people.
And you're talking about Homer. I heard someone say here recently, every organization, whether it's a church, a company, they're going to have a Mr. Grumpy and a Mrs. Grumpy.
Well, that's called the Muppet. The 2 guys in the Muppets, Homer and Statler and Waldorf, you're going to have them. Absolutely. And even if you get rid of I know even if I run Homer out, the devil will send a new Homer or raise up a new Homer.
Oh. Yep. And it happens. I will say this though about our church. I know there's people that aren't always thrilled about our methods.
Because you got to make changes. You've got to make changes. You can hold the gospel line and make changes. And if you don't make changes, there's a difference between caving on the gospel and changing the color of the carpet or changing the time or how you broadcast the service or the drum cage or, I like what your dad says, these things aren't important.
Yeah.
But some people, it's what lowers their shields to let them enter in. And then you got to navigate around those, right? And you get some people that are uncomfortable with that.
And at the same time, they may not be comfortable with the method, but what we have, I think, is a lot of people that have married themselves to the why behind what we do.
We're trying to make a change here. And they trust you.
Exactly. And in that, hey, the method may not be what I choose, but this is my church, and we exist not just to, it's not about the pulpit being in this space or the service being at this time. It's
15 minutes, got Homer out of there, man. I'm telling you. 15.
Yeah, 15. Well,
I moved the pulpit one time, they about had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Because we moved it between service, they said, well, it's about 6 inches over.
Yeah.
And then I got but I went to a glass one.
There you go.
Yeah, I got rid of
really ruffle some.
I got rid of the other Statler and Waldorf. I got rid of Waldorf. Yeah. It's okay, but you need to find out where your Pharisees are sitting and Sadducees are sitting. Sometimes you just have to wait on them, and God can break their hearts. Sometimes He can't break their hearts, and you just have to do the right thing, And we have to remember, I think, the church is the one organization who says that that is not about us completely.
It's exists for its non-members.
It's not. Yeah, it exists for Him. And for us to reach that lost sheep. And it's quick to go, this is my church, but it's His body.
Absolutely.
And those things got to be consistent there. So Absolutely. Give me a little bit more feel there, if you would.
Yeah. And so we have people, one of the things I love is that we have a wide age range in our church. It's not just a young church. It's not just an older congregation, but we want to be the church of Heron, which means that Heron's represented in our church.
Yeah. It is too. I feel that.
And Heron's, so it's not just a young community. It's spread out.
You're a very diverse age church as well.
And so, that's our...
I'm in a different position out at Community Faith. We're out here right at the crossroads. So we have, a bunch from Carbondale and a bunch from Marion, a bunch from Heron. We have a few from Carbondale and a couple from McCanda and a handful from West Frankfort. And it makes it a little different because I have to work both with Steve Fertini, the mayor over Apsher, over in Marion. We do a little bit with Carterville. I work with three different minister alliances. I thinned some of that out just because they just weren't doing anything significant. And, I do a lot more work in Heron because I'm from Heron. Our family's from Heron. I gravitate to Heron more. Marion's got a couple other churches that take pretty strong lead. But in Heron, you guys, us, CLC, a couple other churches do a little bit. But really, Heron really needs the spiritual lift that you guys give. Big time. I agree.
Absolutely. And that's...
You're anchored in a big residential, one of the oldest residential sections of the community they're in. Yeah. And you sit right there. And you guys haven't chosen to move, jump out, go out on the edge of the town like all the other churches have moved out. The Christian church now, the old Christian church is a hospital. A lot of churches have moved. Other churches come out here and build. I like how CLC stayed where they are too. They took the Elks Lodge, stayed there, just built on that end of town. I always tell them they're kind of like they're kind of like a sister church. They're like our sister north, and we're over here on the south, and you guys now on the west. We just got to get somebody on the east.
There we go.
We get somebody on the east. We got it made. Hey, let me show you this real quick. I'm going to run this video real quick. That's your warning, Colt. And I just want you to see this. If you get a chance to watch a West Monroe Apostolic Church service, go to their website. I'll give that just in a minute. You're going to see this in front of a lot of the stuff they do, and it's a really good, quick window into what they're doing. We'll run this and get some comments, and I'll ask him our lead question for the remainder of this show. Here we go, guys.
Here at West Monroe, we believe in God and we believe in you. Together, we believe that His purpose is for us to get to know Him and to grow in our relationship with Him and to go out and share the message of Him. We would love for you to come out and visit with us and take a step in that journey.
The West Monroe Apostolic Church has been a place of refuge, renewal, and restoration for well over 100 years for a generation of believers. We hope that you will come and be part of that story.
Fantastic. That's a great, see what I mean?
Good. I like that.
Cole, see how good that lead is in? That's kind of nice. We need to do a little piece like that.
That's for sure.
Yeah, we need to do that with the fly around and everything like that.
I think maybe Rob has a drone or something like that.
Rob does have a drone because, and what we're going to tell him, who did theirs. We're going to tell him exactly who did it. Lopez did it, and we're going to say we think you can match Lopez. We're going to put them against each other because we love them all. Yeah, we love the Lopezes. I mean, but I have no problem. I'm a football coach. I'll put up 2 tackles against each other and beat each other. The snot for the kingdom of Jesus. So we'll get them on and say, Rob, this is theirs. Can we do something to match it? We're getting embarrassed here. Yeah, that's a really good lead into your church and just the life of your church. We're gonna give you some more clips in a little bit, but you can go watch your stuff. Go to West Monroe Apps. I'm gonna ask you a question, man. West Monroe Apostolic Church, wmac1.org. Find out about their church services and times and more about that family. So check that out and follow that on the web, and you can find links to their broadcasts and stuff. Now I want to get you the first tough question. What it means to lead a remnant. I consider 105 years. You're holding the line. I don't see. You guys haven't put, I was in your church. You haven't put kitty litter boxes in the bathroom or anything like that. There's no, we made it real clear in our church yesterday that there's 2 genders, there's male and female. And we told people what to do about it if they can't handle it. There's some that are eunuchs and some are made eunuchs, and some just choose to give their life to Christ totally and never get married. There's ways to manage, you can live a life that's different and not in sin. And you can choose to be fully devoted to Christ. We honor that here. There are some churches doing that, but there's a lot of churches today thinking that we got to love people over and above loving God. But the Bible says love God and love people. You know what I mean? At the same time, with the same balance, and love people as you love God. And you've got to seek first, Matthew 6:33, the kingdom of God and His righteousness. So as you look at that, what does it mean to be a remnant pastor and trying to lead an uncompromising church in this day, in this hour, when every commercial, everything pushes against you. Even when you broadcast, Google and Facebook will take us off. Google will take us off on our Sunday sometimes for just silly things. I can tell you all kinds of stories about that. Rumble won't, but we have Sermonette. They'll stay up. But we have challenges with that. What is it like to lead that as a pastor today? And how do you work to maintain that ethos?
I think you have to remember who you are to start. Remember who you are. We're the church, that we are the bride of Christ. We are who God has chosen to be here for such a time as this, that he trusts us for this season in a way he didn't trust those that came before us for this season. There's a reason we're here right now, and that Paul was there in his time, that David served his generation, and Peter, John, they served their generation, Paul, and now he's called us for this season, and he's called us not to compromise to the world that's around us, but to stay true to who he's designed us to be the church, to be his salt and light in this world for this time. And so I think that you have to remember that you're not a business in the sense of out there, they're not trading your stock on the stock market. Right. You are the church. You're different. You're called out. You're in the world, but you're not of this world.
That's really good.
That you have to stay true to the gospel, the word of God. Yeah. We say we're restorationists, that we go back to the Bible for everything.
Yeah, one of our challenges is, that's really good, restorationists. I'll write that down real quick and I'll come back to you. But we, in our situation, we work amongst, families and church leaders, our families in a church, and we want people to like what we have to say, and we want people to be supportive of that. That's always our goal, one level. But that's a goal of ours. But that doesn't drive us. What drives us is being faithful to the word and obedient to God, and realizing that he's the head of the church and we're the body of the church. And so there's a balance, and a lot of churches have gotten this out of whack, that my shareholders are the people in the pews, are the people on the board, and this. And while we want the board to see what we're doing, at the same time, we're really not working as a board with shareholders. We have a sole owner. That is, the church belongs to God. It's the kingdom of God. And so we work as under shepherds, as pastors. We work as under shepherds to the greatest shepherd, Jesus Christ. And we are being given tending of a flock that's not really our flock. It's his flock. And in the end, we will stand before him and answer for how we stewarded those gifts and what he called us to do. And there's a balance. You want people to understand and get along and understand where you're going and casting vision, but you can't compromise the vision. And that is a challenge today, because everybody wants it. Well, we can't say, I have to explain. That's how we got this, the Faraday bag. My phone's in this Faraday bag because we said in the first episode we shot this year on Building Strong Churches, we said everybody wants their faith the way they want it, and they want it now. And then Colt over there on the microphone said, that reminds me of the J.G. Wentworth song, I want my cash and I want my cash now. He said that. Beth had put her phone in airplane mode, not in airplane mode. She had it in silent mode. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, we get a J.G. Wentworth commercial ad because Google was listening to us in a closed studio, non-broadcast. Wow. We joked about that the next day because we were shooting the next day. And I said, Colt, you done got Beth getting the email on J.G. Wentworth. So we showed it and we all laughed about it. Well, Dingling over here had forgotten to put his phone in airplane mode. I just had mine turned down, and guess who got their ad the next morning at 3:30 in the morning? Well, me. So we were shooting the third day, and a company called SLNT. Maybe you can put up the lower hashtag, the lower third. There you go. SLNT. Go to slnt.com. Good time to say that. Promo code OTD, or you can use our / there and be a part. So this company does these Faraday bags, and they're telling you, Google, the Chinese, everybody else in the world's listening to you. They're picking up your words and selling you back stuff. And they said, we sell a Faraday bag that'll keep them from doing what we just did to you by saying, would you like to sell our product? Because we know that you don't like what they're doing. And so they made us our first affiliate.
Wow.
Because I was telling them, when I tell them, hey, we need one of those Faraday bag products. And the next thing you know, they listened to us and they marketed to us so we could stop it.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Key fobs, your wireless thing. So that's how we got this affiliate program, because, The world is listening, and the world wants you to adjust to it. And marketing is tailored to you. There's algorithms that tell businesses how to quickly adjust around you. So a lot of people are triggered by the fact that it feels like everything's almost automatically catered to them or built for them. And people can begin to think their church works that way, that God's word is kind of will bend around my stuff and compromise. And God's word will bend around your crisis and reach and pull you out and lift you up out of the water and save you. But I haven't found yet where the word is compromised. And that's a challenge today, is to live like you're doing as a young man, third generation for you, a couple generations for your wife, to be in the church and now step into the pulpit as senior pastor and lead a church that's uncompromised. And I see you doing that, and I just can't tell you how pleased I am with that. We're going to pull out of this episode, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you, we are going to go so much deeper with him. I've got some stuff to ask him in the next episode that's going to challenge this young pastor. He's our youngest, greenest senior pastor, so we're going to see how he does. But I got a feeling you're going to hit it well because you've got good legacy in you. We're going to talk to you a little bit more in the second episode. We're going to give you some shots of him preaching. You get a chance to see him preach for a little bit here in a minute.
Well, I got to tell him that story
go
about
ahead.
Caleb real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our son went to college in St. Louis, and when he started going there, he started looking for a church to go to.
All over.
All over. He found this one, and after the service, he stopped. He waited to talk with the pastor, and he started asking him all these questions. I mean, these really deep spirit. What do you believe about this, and how do you feel about this? And, and he said the pastor finally stopped and looked at him and said, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
College kid.
He's just like an 18, 19-year-old kid, And Caleb said, "My dad's a pastor." He said, okay. But,
Makes sense.
He's asking questions about free will and his theology and being filled with the Spirit.
And that's how we should be.
And then he challenged it.
His answers weren't sufficient.
They weren't. He had an anti-Holy Spirit theology. They had a once saved always saved theology. But what they'd done is they'd redressed it in a modern church wrapper, so to speak. So it didn't come out in the name of you couldn't just grab a denominational name and go, "This is what they believe." It was kind of hidden in there, but it was a pop church. So it looked like it was kind of spirit in bubbly form. But when he would hear the preaching, he would hear triggered words, like you're coming to find Christ, like you lost him briefly.
But it's good to know. I mean, that's why you should be in your Bible yourself daily, and you should be learning yourself what is true
and know what's the bottom line. What are those? And that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. Yeah. We're going to talk about ethos and mission and moorings and anchors and what holds you, Dustin, what holds destiny, what holds you in place, what holds your church in place, so that your church is 105 years.
105.
I have no doubt West Monroe Apostolic will be there another 100 years. So it'll be there because they have moorings and they have anchors, and you have moorings and anchors. And that's what we want to get at the hardest in this series. Building a Stronger Church series is all about giving people, we're going to talk about this next episode, strategies for such a time as this, a strategy and outlook to help pastors. We want you to encourage other pastors to hold the line. Hold the line. Braveheart, hold, hold, don't give. I know Statler and Waldorf want you to give. Don't. We're not talking about moving pulpits. We're not talking about moving. We're talking about deeper theology, things that really matter. And you and I've got people around us that if I started giving all those things, they'd come slap me and talk to me and love on me and say, you need a break for a minute. You've been brainwashed. I've got Fred Bishop and Shane and Beth and a lot of people around me that Steve McEwen would come and just say, dude, you need to go on a cruise. You've gotten compromised. You've got people around you that, your wife would just start off by beating you senseless because she's theologically trained. You've got good people, but pastors right now are coming to crossroads. They're trying to decide, do I want to lead the church or do I want to lead a popular church?
Right.
And the popular church, you can be a popular church. I think it's tough right now leading a popular church in this time because what the Bible offers is not popular. Yeah. But I believe as times get tougher and tougher, the remnant pastor leading the resistance church, people are going to begin to go, I need to find North back.
But you have to give up that desire.
Confused kids.
To have a popular church and change it for the desire to have a deep church.
That cry to God comes, they're going to be looking for a church. Go ahead.
I think the better question that you have to ask yourself are, do you want to be a relevant church or a church that isn't relevant? And relevant doesn't mean popular.
Right.
When you're relevant, that means that there's a higher purpose for you to exist.
Yeah.
And so when you are anchored in the Word of God, that's what people need. That's what people what I find is that they desire that.
Yeah.
And so that is what makes you relevant. It's not looking to the left and the right to figure out how we should do things. It's looking to the Word of God and saying, this is my example.
Yeah.
And when you stay in the Word of God, you'll always be relevant.
Yes.
You'll always be relevant,
Yes.
which is where you want to be, because if you're not relevant, you are.
I think that's very wise what you've said.
Yeah.
We will come back to that later because I've got that down here. I do think people get confused though. And my example is when you're at the fair every year, the cotton candy, I see that big old thing, cotton candy, and I go, I need that. We want that. And I think a lot of our church people get caught by the cotton candy of the world. And you go eat that cotton candy. And if you know anything about cotton candy, you guys all know this. You eat cotton candy, and if that's the first thing you eat at the fair, I mean, you've got the jitters and the shakes in a little while. And you find out all that fondue, that big hair blowed up stuff is really, if you ever seen it when it shrinks, you ever bring one home, it just shrinks into nothing. You find out quickly there was no substance there. There's no thing there. I think a lot of people like the pop culture, but when they get to the end of the day and when they start seeing what's happening to their kids, they go, this is not sustainable. This is not real. This is not nutrient. This is not of the Lord. And I think we're in a moment right now where people are caught by the pop, but they're beginning to realize these people are killing themselves. They're committing suicide. They're drowning in their own hot tubs on drugs. You take, whether you take Elvis or whether you take Prince or whether you take Michael Jackson, I can just go through the line all the way up to the soap opera people today. There are so many people dying at 50, 51, 48, drug overdose, killing themselves right now because they don't see life as worth living because pop culture doesn't satisfy. And when people wake up, I think what you're saying is right. They want relevant and a higher purpose. And that's where the church has to hold the line. People are going to start looking around. I think some are looking now and you're there, but I think very soon there's going to be an awakening on that. And I just think a church like West Monroe Apostolic is an answer for you if you're looking for that. We're going to come back in part 2 and get into the strategy and outlook. It's going to be deeper, much better. And Jordan, just a great beginning conversation. Mother Beth, great thoughts there. Mm-hmm. Colt, it's been good here. We'll be back in part 2 real soon here. But in the meantime, go to onthedock.org. Find out more about this show, season 1 and 2 and 3. Make sure you're watching other episodes that we're doing in the Building a Stronger Church series. Email us at info@onthedock.org if you'd like more details on how to link up. If you want to find West Monroe Apostolic Church, they'll be in our description notes of this show. The link to their website will all be there. Donna will put that in there, and we'll make sure they get copies of this in advance. When the show's going to go out, you'll be seeing it coming. So check out that church home, and there's a lot you can find out about that. Go to YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, no matter where you found us, find us on another one. Have a backup plan in case they boot us. You never know. So get out there. And Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter are our 5 social media sites. We'd love to hear from you. If you've had an experience, if you want to find out more about this church, you want to tell us a little bit more about what your ethics and your moorings are and what's real for you and what's cotton candy for you in your faith, we'd love to have a dialogue with you about this and connect you with it. Anything you want to know from Jordan, we'll get it to him so he can help you answer it as well. Donna monitors those. I do as well. And we'd love for you to be a part of this conversation. Hit subscribe, like, notify, and bug all your friends to watch this show. Copy the share link. Send it to them. Tell them they're a loser if they don't hear Jordan talk about what's going on at West Monroe Apostolic Church. Now put good, positive peer pressure and give good resources out to people on all of our shows and get them watching. And the good thing is once you hit subscribe or like, you can go back and you can binge watch us for almost 200 episodes. We've shot over 300. Some of those are best of seasons, but we've shot 200 independent episodes this year as of season 1, 2, and 3. So go back and take a watch of those. You can really catch up. There's some good stuff. Go to Patreon. We'd love to have you as one of our 4 levels of partnership. Check out those levels and see how that would fit you. Very low ask there, but you can be a part of what we're doing. 3 levels of sponsorship. If you have a business organization, organization, Christian organization, church ministry that we could spotlight and be a part of, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. And there's also 3 levels there. And again, go to slnt.com, promo code OTD, check out the Faraday bags, and make sure Google's not listening to you when you don't want them to. What are these good for? Put your key fob in, even at your house, because the predators can now come up on your desk, on your back kitchen, where you hang your keys when you go to bed at night. They can come up and stand outside your house, copy your code, steal your car. They can now walk up to you in a McDonald's while you're in line, be taking the RFID out of your card, and before you're to the next place, they've already taken money from your credit cards. Or you can be traveling to an airport, and as you travel through, they're taking everything off your laptop or your iPad phone. You can put these in there when you're traveling and when you're unaware and you can't see things happening, so it'll protect you. So check that out, slnt.com/discount/OTD. That's our page there. If you can't remember that, slnt.com, promo code OTD as you check out. You'll get some great deals. Again, we've been here with Jordan. Jordan's been fantastic. Again, Sunday school at what, 9:30?
9:30.
Worship's right behind that at 10:30. Guys, they can flat kick it. Matter of fact, the opening song here that we do, the rendition of Otis Redding, Sitting on the Dock, your brother played the keys on that with Lucas and Ben Odolini. And your brother had never heard that song. So it was the first time when we showed it to him, he did it. And he played it so uniquely Dustin style that we passed the RCA people, and they allow us to use the song because it's a unique version of it. And they really liked it. So we got permission to use that. And that's why we're able to use that song, because your brother just did his thing. And it was so fantastic. Dustin Griffith, his brother, one of the keyboard players, part of the worship team out there, just spectacular guy. And you and your brother and your family, your wife, your mom and dad, just incredible people. We highly recommend West Monroe Apostolic Church. 10:30 on Sundays, 7 o'clock on Wednesdays. Go find their stuff out. They would love to have you out there. Just go out, find West Monroe Street in Heron, go out to 30th Street. You found them. If you're on this end of town, they're on the west end. We're on the south end. Community Faith Church, coftv.com. You can check us out there. If you don't have any place to go, you can't get to their church. I mean, somebody blocked themselves. Maybe somebody laid in the middle of the road. You can't get out there. 10 o'clock on Sundays, 6:30 on Wednesdays. But if you have to pick, go check them out first and come to us. That's fine. Or go to us, and you don't like me, go to him. We don't care. We just want to see the kingdom of God thrive. Amen. All right, Mother Beth, thank you so much.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Colt, good show so far. We're doing well, and thank you for being on here. We'll be back in part 2 of this real soon. Don't miss part 2. We get into the nitty-gritty. Well, wasn't that a dirt band? Nitty-gritty dirt band. We get into the nitty-gritty of this thing. We love it. As we go out on this show, like we've been doing this whole season, we're going to give you a deeper look at SL&T, and we're going to see you real soon. I'm going to run, as we roll out the rest of this time, a commercial from SL&T that they get us, and you can find out how to be a part of that and buy their products. Take care. I'm Pastor Troy with Mother Beth and Colt. We're on the dock here, and we'll see you soon.
There are more than 8 billion phones in the world, a fact that threatens your privacy, security, and health. With Silent Pocket Faraday protection, you can regain control over your mobile devices. We get it. Privacy and security are inconvenient topics, and you may feel like you have nothing to hide, but the fact is that in the modern world, your laptop is never really off. Your phone emits a signal, even in airplane mode. And everything from your passport to your credit cards contains RFID, and all of it contains valuable private information that is easily exploited in the wrong hands. Silent Pocket offers a range of products you already use: wallets, bags, travel gear, laptop sleeves, key cases, but with the added protection of our patented Faraday technology, which turns your devices invisible and safe from the outside world. Many industries, from top business professionals to government officials, require the use of Faraday products for the day-to-day security of them and their staff. They understand that we are constantly at risk and take the necessary steps to prevent future attacks. We offer this elite technology to anyone that values their personal data, and we are proud to offer a premium range that fits seamlessly into your everyday life, providing security without looking like a tinfoil hat. As we learn to live with technology, Silent Pocket stands on the 3 pillars of privacy, security, and health. Our goal is to provide harmony with mobile technology without risking our most valuable information. We hope you'll trust us to help you do the same.